Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I'm very sorry for stopping the kirtan, but we are speaking and it's 10 minutes past. Sorry. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada. I hope you all are well. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada. So we have verse today starting from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 18th chapter, and verse number 48. Is it okay if I start the share screen, oh Maharaj? Just give me a second. Very nice Kirtan, Maharaj. It was on 4th September 2022, Radha Ashtami. So, some reason I can wait. Let me just come out from my screen. Over to you, Maharaj.
47 or you said 48, is it? Or 47? 47. It's 47?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. 46 we covered yesterday, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Apapesu Swabrityesu Balena Pakva Buddhina Papam Kritam Ta Bhagavan Sarvatma Shantum Arhati. Then the Rishi prayed to the all-pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Purport. Everyone is responsible for his own action, either pious or sinful. Shamik could foresee that his son had committed a great sin by cursing Maharaj Parikshit, who deserved to be protected by the Brahmanas. He was a pious ruler and completely freed from all sins because of being a first-class devotee of the Lord. When offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it's very difficult to overcome the reactions. The Brahmanas, being at the head of the social order, are meant to give protection to their subordinates and not to curse them. There are occasions when a Brahmana may furiously curse a subordinate Kshatriya or Vaishya, etc. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, there was no grounds, as already explained. The foolish boy had done it out of sheer vanity in being a Brahman's son, and thus he became liable to be punished by the law of God. The Lord never forgives a person who contemns his pure devotee. Therefore, by cursing the king, the foolish Shringi had committed not only a sin, but also the greatest offense. Therefore, Rishi could foresee that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead could save his boy from his sinful act. He therefore directly prayed for pardon of the Supreme Lord, who alone can undo a thing which is impossible to change. The appeal was made in the name of a foolish boy who had developed no intelligence at all. A question may be raised herein that since it was the desire of the Lord that Parikshit Maharaj be put into that awkward position so that he may be delivered from material existence, then why was a Brahmana's son made responsible for this offensive act? The answer is that the offensive act was performed by a child only, so that he could be excused very easily, and thus the prayer of the father was accepted. But if the question is raised why the Brahmin community as a whole was made responsible for allowing Kali into the world affairs, the answer is given in the Varaha Purana, that the demons who acted immediately towards the personality of Godhead, but were not killed by the Lord, were allowed to take birth in the family of Brahmanas to take advantage of the age of Kali. The all-merciful Lord gave them a chance to have their birth in families of pious Brahmins so they could progress towards salvation. But the demons, instead of utilizing the good opportunity, misused the Brahminical culture due to being puffed up by vanity and becoming Brahmanas. The typical example is the son of Shamakarish, and all the foolish sons of a Brahmanas are warned herein not to become a foolish Ashringi and to be always on guard against the demoniac qualities which they had in their previous births. The foolish boy, of course, excused by the Lord, but others who may not have a father like Shamakarish will be in great difficulty if they misuse the advantage obtained by birth in a Brahmana family. Chaksun militam yena tasmai Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Mom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi. Vastyati Satarine. Panchakalpaturu Bhischa. Kripa Sindhu Vacha. Vitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in spiritual life, we make progress very easily simply by chanting Hare Krishna, following the principles as given by the spiritual master. But there are obstacles that one should be very much aware of. These obstacles come by way of position or by not understanding one's relationship with other living entities. So one has to be very careful in the execution of devotional service because there are things called offenses. There are offenses to the Lord. There are offenses to people in general. There are offenses to the holy name, which is the Lord also, and there are offenses to Vaishnavas. Every day in our temples, we recite the 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord. And the first one is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the propagation of the holy name of the Lord. This is called Hasti Aparad. Hasti means elephant. Means it's one of the most dangerous offenses that one can commit. So one cannot be careless or whimsical in the execution of devotional service. One has to be always very attentive to make sure one is acting and speaking in a way that is bringing one closer on the path of devotional service. In other words, there is a certain thing called behavior in Krishna consciousness. We see in the material world, there is what is called ordinary parlance or etiquette behavior, and that's found in different circles outside in the material world. The general behavior is that people give some kind of acknowledgement and respect to others by being very courteous, friendly, and somewhat free from being angry or envious towards others. But if this happens in Vaishnava circles, it blocks one's progress in devotional service. Although one may be chanting the holy name, one may have a good position in relationship to their service. In other words, they may have a position where they are responsible for taking care of the deity or for others or temples, some kind of position of management or some position of concern. They have to be very careful not to commit offenses, because these things are very detrimental to the progress of devotional service. So Lord Chaitanya taught us Shranadapi Sunichena Dayarivasu Hishnuna Amani Nama Manadena Kirtaniya Sadarahi. One should practice the principles as delineated or mentioned in this verse: humility, tolerance, bridelessness, and giving respects to others. And one has to follow this protocol very carefully, and that will free one from the tendency to make mistakes and commit offenses. It is called achar, or behavior. Ultimately, it's called sadachar, which means that behavior which is ideal. So a devotee gives respects to others and sees that within the heart of all living entities, Krishna is there. Even if someone offends a devotee doesn't take offense, nor does he try to counteract the offense by offending another person in return. A devotee is always fixed in executing devotional service to the Lord, and very careful not to do anything that will overshadow one's progress in devotional service. As one makes progress in devotional service, it becomes more and more subtle how offenses may manifest. For instance, we have the example of, his name was Rupa Kaviraj. Rupa Kaviraj was a great Vaishnava, and he had mastered the Vedas, and he was a great orator in public, speaking on Vedic knowledge and Shastra. His speech was very much refined, and he knew how to present the philosophy in a very interesting and a very pleasing way. He developed a reputation based on his ability to speak the knowledge and to inspire others. So, and he became very popular, and he was making great progress towards the goal of life. He actually had reached almost on the level of bhava, which is a very high stage of Krishna consciousness. But somehow or other, one of his programs, he was giving an outside program where people were coming to hear him. And one very elevated lady, her name was Krishna Priya, she came, and she was very much attached to chanting Hare Krishna. So much so, she had developed the mood of constantly chanting the holy name. She was absorbed in chanting 24 hours a day. And she came to sit in his lecture, and she sat in the back part of the grouping. But because she had developed this mood of chanting, and she was chanting while she was sitting there and listening to him at the same time, he had noticed that she was chanting while she was trying to listen to his class, and he felt a little bit slighted. And so he called attention to her and made some comment. Oh, you are here to hear, but I can see you are chanting also. How is it you are chanting while you're trying to listen? She didn't respond at all. She just remained humble and tolerant and didn't say anything. But she pretty much didn't respond to his attack. He became more angry and started to become more offensive towards her. And gradually, I don't know the details of what happened so much, but because of his attitude towards it, he committed a great offense to this lady, who was also a great devotee, and he lost his position in bhakti. He fell down from his higher position to a lower position. And also, he developed a tendency to find fault in others. We have the example of Daksha when he came into the arena and everyone stood up to honor his presence. He was such a great personality. Lord Shiva was also personally present, but Shiva was in meditation and didn't really notice Daksha's presence in the assembly. And so Shiva remained in that meditative state. Daksha was offended that everyone honored him except Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was his son-in-law. Shiva had married Daksha's daughter Sati. And therefore, Daksha felt more of a kind of superior to Shiva. And he didn't like Shiva because actually it was Brahma who had requested or even encouraged Daksha to give his daughter Sati to Shiva in marriage. He did it to obey his father, Lord Brahma, but he wasn't inclined to it. So now he found some reason to criticize Shiva, and he started to make statements criticizing his appearance and his activities, which led to a great turmoil within the assembly. And later on, of course, it destroyed everything. Sati gave up her life because her father criticized her husband. Daksha, the followers of Shiva came and destroyed the whole arena and cut off the head of Daksha. It was and replaced his head with a head of a goat. So it was a whole fiasco that ensued because of this offense towards a great personality like Lord Shiva. So offenses are like great obstacles. So one has to be very, very aware that it's easy to commit an offense. And if one has any kind of personal pride in themselves, pride in their position, pride in their advancement, they may say something or do something which becomes offensive towards others. And that will cause them to fall from their position, or at least block their progress in spiritual life. So the process of devotional service is pretty much summarized in 3 activities. Chant the holy names of the Lord, glorify the Lord, follow the rules and regulations given in the scriptures, as given in the Nectar devotion, and avoid the offenses. So 2 of these things are positive, and 1 of them is avoiding the negative. So we should learn what it is, what are actually offenses. There are offenses that are done by not acting in the proper way, and there's offenses done by acting in the improper way. Just like if you fail to honor a great personality when they appear in your purview, that is offense by neglect. And that is also And well, that'll also cause one to, what we say, no longer make progress in their devotional service. So there's many things that one should be very careful to observe so one does not um, impede their own progress in devotional service. And offenses can carry up all the way to the higher levels of bhakti. We have the example where the four Kumaras actually entered into the realm of Vaikuntha. And they were on their way through the different gates of the Vaikuntha realm. There were 7 gates. They had passed 6 gates. In the final gate, there was 2 gatekeepers named Jai and Vijay. And Jai and Vijay felt, who are these boys coming here? What is their position? They want to go and see Lord Narayan. They are not qualified. So they assumed that these 4 Kumaras were just, great souls, but not qualified to go see Narayan. So they blocked their pathway. The Kumaras became very unhappy and offended. And then there was some discussion, some heated discussion ensued until Lord Narayan came himself to ameliorate the situation. But Jai and Vijay had committed an offense against these 4 Kumaras. So here's an example where these are gatekeepers in the spiritual world. They're not in the spiritual world, they're on the gates of the spiritual world. And so they had committed an offense, even in such a high, elevated spiritual position. And because of that, they came to the material world to become demons. Of course, that was the arrangement of the Lord, for the Lord to fight. But they had to fall to the material world, either as demons or as devotees, because of their offense against the 4 Kumaras. So one should be very, very attentive in execution of one's devotional service and not become so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, I live in this material world because I give respects to everyone. A devotee can even give respects to an ant because they see within the heart of the ant there is the soul. The super soul is there. God sits in the heart of all living entities, no matter what particular species of life that living entity is. So Vaishnavas are by very nature very humble and tolerant and free from the desire to receive respect. If we expect respect, and when we don't get respect, we may feel unhappy and slighted and then become disturbed or say something that causes one to commit an offense. So one, therefore, a devotee doesn't want respect for themselves, but they want to give respects to all other living entities. Here, we see Shringi, he's using his position to do something that is detrimental, not only to himself, but to the whole Brahmin society. Now, as a representative of the Brahmin class, his father was a great soul, Shamagrish. He caused the element of Kali to enter into the arena where they couldn't it couldn't come because of the presence of Maharaj Parikshit, but because of the curse of Shringi and Maharaj Parikshit's being forced to leave his position, Kali Yuga started to manifest it in a very big way due to this immature boy's offense to a soul who is free from all sins. So, and sometimes devotees misunderstand a situation and react or overreact in a situation and say things or do things that somehow or other become somewhat offensive, or you might say outside of proper etiquette and behavior. So one can prevent that by always chanting Hare Krishna. If one is always chanting Hare Krishna, they will not be able to commit offenses to others. Or if one has not come to the stage of always chanting Hare Krishna, they should practice seeing themselves as being um, a humble servant of the Vaishnavas, a humble servant of the Lord. That is our actual position. We have no other position. The soul is called jiva. Jiva means tiny. Tiny means it has a tendency to become overwhelmed by an energy that is lesser than itself, and that is the material energy. The living entity is spiritual, but locked in or connected with the material energy, they become overwhelmed by the material energy. So that tendency to become overwhelmed is counteracted by developing humility, tolerance, pridelessness, and respect for all living entities. Well, you might challenge that by saying, well, there are some people who are not respectable because of their behavior, their activities. Yes, that is also true. So one can respect from a distance. One can respect from a distance and accept the fact that that person is a spirit soul, but they're in illusion, they're in a wrong state of consciousness, and they're acting against their own best interest and for the interest of others. So this is important because our whole society centers around sadhu sangha, association with other devotees. So if we always keep that mood of service and respect to others, then we will not fall into the tendency to make mistakes or to commit offenses, even unknowingly. Sometimes that happens, offenses committed unknowingly. One will say something and do something and not realize until later on that they had done something wrong. So, but here we see how Prabhupada said everyone is responsible for his own action, either pious or sinful. Sometimes people blame a situation for the way they act. They blame the situation rather than taking the responsibility for their own activities. But the situation is not to be blamed, but one should be careful to know how to act in each and every situation. So there are many books, statements, both in the scriptures, what is called Vaishnav etiquette, the behavior of a Vaishnava. One should study these things. It's more important, behavior and activity is more important than knowing the scriptures. Because we see there are people who know the scriptures, but their behavior is not so good. And therefore, they're not favored by the Lord in any way. But those whose behavior is proper, they get the mercy of the Lord. Because only they can approach the Lord in devotion. Like that. So one has to be careful in the execution of one's devotional service. And Prabhupada said to execute devotional service is like shaving with a sharp razor. He said, if you're not attentive when you shave, then you can easily cut yourself. So therefore, attentiveness is a very big part, not a very big part, it's the main part of execution and devotional service. One should not be unconscious, whimsical, mechanical, lazy. One should always be attentive to all of the activities in devotional service and execute them in a way that is what's the word? In the way that it is meant to be executed. In other words, with proper attention, with care, and with devotion. Like that. And even if one feels slighted or offended by others, they don't take it seriously. They just tolerate it and go on in their devotional life. So this is how we make progress in devotional service. Okay, these are some things we can think about in terms of, and there's 6 ways that you can offend a devotee. You can offend a devotee by killing a devotee, which is the most severe. Blaspheming the devotee, which is less severe, but very severe. Becoming envious of a devotee, that's also an offense. To become angry with a devotee, that's lesser, but still an offense. To not respect the devotee, when respect is meant to be given, that's an offense. And the least way to offend a devotee, which is still an offense, is to not feel happy when one comes in the presence of a devotee. So that can be counteracted simply by offering obeisances. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes these points. These are the 6 ways that one can commit Vaishnava aparadha. One should be very attentive in the, well, we usually make mistakes or commit offenses when we're inattentive. Inattention means the mind is somewhere else and the activity is going on in one place and you're thinking about or doing something else in your mind. And therefore you're not completely there in your activities, and then mistakes or things can automatically happen that one doesn't want to happen, but will happen simply by circumstance. So Krishna consciousness is a very subtle form of activity, and therefore it contains things to do and things to avoid. And things to avoid should also be studied and learned by the devotees. One should study and read Nectar of Devotion. It's one of the most important of all of the Shastric books for devotees. It's called the Handbook of Devotional Service, and it's non-different than the internal energy of the Lord. It's given by Srila Rupa Goswami directly, who is the Acharya who teaches the process of pure devotional service. He is called our Abhideya Acharya. And therefore, one should very carefully read and study that book. Prabhupada said, read it once, read it twice, read it thrice. That's a statement by Srila Prabhupada. And he gave many lectures also in Vrindavan in 1972. He gave a whole series of lectures on Nectar of Devotion for 1 consecutive month every day, speaking about one of the different verses in Nectar of Devotion. It's the most important book, and it's one of the first books that Prabhupada put out when he began his preaching in the Western countries. He had started with Bhakti and Narada Bhakti Sutras. Prabhupada started with that, and he had gotten to 13 verses, and then he stopped and said, well, I think more important we give the devotees this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, how to execute devotional service. Because when you know how to do things, then you can avoid mistakes and errors simply by ignorance. And ignorance doesn't allow one to get free from the reactions. A child is ignorant and sticks his hand in the fire not knowing it'll burn, but the fire will automatically burn the child. So you can't say the child is innocent, but it is innocent, but it's ignorant. Ignorance causes problems. So Krishna consciousness means to be very much aware on how to execute devotional service in such a way that one avoids the pitfalls, the offenses, the tendencies commit offenses and performing the activities in the wrong way and performing wrong activities. It's all there in Nectar of Devotion, nicely explained, especially in the first 19 chapters, which are called the first wave of Bhakti. So those first 19 chapters are essential for reading and studying. There's also commentaries on that by my god brother. What's his name? I can't remember his name now, but he wrote Waves of Devotion, which was a nice commentary on Nectar of Devotion. Yeah, I can't remember his name. I'm very bad with names. But anyway, the book's called Waves of Devotion. It's a commentary, but read the actual book. It's one of the first books that came out in the execution of Krishna consciousness when Prabhupada started the movement back in the late 1960s. It's an essential part of our spiritual practice. Okay. Hare Krishna. Danudar Swami, thank you. Danudar Swami, Nectar of Devotion, Waves of Devotion.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Again, very nice reminder for all of us as sadhaka to remember to not to commit offenses, especially towards the devotees, Vaishnavas, because that can definitely bring us down. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask questions. It'll be nice to have your cameras on to take your darshan as well. And if you can't speak, please please you can type it in the chat and I'll read it for you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll just wait if someone has any questions. Otherwise, I have a question. Yes, Devi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Satyabhama. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I found it really very compelling when you said that behavior is more important than knowledge. And you said that one who, let me read that line again. Only those whose behavior is proper are favored by the Lord. Thank you for that timely reminder that we may have a lot of scriptural knowledge, we know many verses, or we may know all the books, etc. But if we don't behave properly towards the Vaishnavas, then we are in a position where we will make offenses. Thank you for that very timely reminder. I needed to hear that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah. Important point.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other questions? So while you're waiting, I'll ask my question. So Guru Maharaj, what happens if a devotee realizes that he or she has made an offense, and what one should do? That in this case, like Shamika Rishi was, requesting the forgiveness from the Lord. But what devotee can also definitely go back to with the Vaishnava and to the Lord as well. But in my personal case, I have felt that every time it happens, you feel your connection with the Lord is disconnected. Basically, you're chanting. There is no test in chanting, or you feel really very, very down and completely, in Krishna consciousness. So last time it happened with me, and I literally went to Vrindavan and I spent time in Vrindavan, and it was really calming. And when I came back, it was, Krishna helped a lot. So I'm assuming that is the way. Is there any how can we come back, how we can do it?
Well, there's a process for rectification, and that if you became aware that you committed an offense to a person, you approach the person, you apologize, and you explain that you made a mistake, I committed offense, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and is there any service that I can do to make up? So we also ask for forgiveness, and we're ready to offer some service. Generally, Vaishnavas don't take offense, so they easily forgive. But in certain cases, I think sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But I mean, we have this story of, in the scriptures, when Haridas Thakur was offended by Gopal Chakravarti, when Srivas Thakur was offended by Gopal Chapala, both of them got very severe reactions. And only when Gopal Chapala actually sincerely apologized to Haridas Thakur, to Srivas Thakur, was he relieved of the offense. So one has to not just apologize, but sincerely mean, because a devotee doesn't do it just because if you are afraid of the reactions of why you committed offense, that is not enough to be relieved for the offense. One should be apologetic or sorry that they caused some difficulty towards others. That's the mood of a Vaishnava.
Thank you. That helps. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yes, Divya, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. Just wanted to ask Maharaj what is the proper procedure and how we can plan our day? Is it the planning and the meditation is important in the morning before we start our day, so that we can have our good conduct during the whole day, like we plan for so many material things?
Yeah, the most important thing and the most recommended is that we begin our day with chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We make that the essential part of the morning program. The morning hours are specifically aligned with the mood of devotion. As the day goes on, the atmosphere changes and activity becomes more prominent. So the morning hours are meant for meditation, for prayer, for worship. So those times we should be dedicating ourselves fully to what is called sadhana. And the essence of sadhana is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we live near a temple, we can also go to the temple and attend the morning programs. If we can't, we should establish some type of morning program within our home. We can do that in different ways with our family members. If it's not possible, we can do it on ourselves. We can sing the Mangalarti prayers. We can sing the Tulsi prayers. We can read Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This sets the foundation for our spiritual consciousness throughout the day. Because the material energy will cause you to think and act in the wrong way. But if we're not protected from the influence of the association of the material energy, that protection comes by our sadhana. And the stronger and more regular our sadhanas, the more we are protected from the influence of the material energy. Even if the material energy becomes hostile, we're not so much affected or even disturbed by it if we have good sadhana. So sadhana is the basis. Hearing and chanting.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thanks, Divya. Yes, Amrita Namataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Satyabhama Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, you said that we should pay obeisances to the pure Vaishnava, pure devotee. Even if we fail to do that, that is also an offense. So, just taking as an example, being at the neophyte level, suppose if we are in Vrindavan, there are so many pure devotees. It's sometimes we are not aware that this also might be a devotee, this also might be a pure devotee. So we might fail sometime. Then what to do in that case?
Keep a respectful attitude towards all devotees. You can offer your obeisances within your heart.
Right.
Yeah. You see, if you see all of the other devotees as opportunities for service, if we have the enjoying spirit, even in Krishna consciousness, if we have the mood of enjoyment, there's a tendency to make mistakes and also commit offenses. If we're in a mood of service, then it's not like that. The mood has to be, I'm a servant. And that's what we are. We're not servant only in certain circumstances. We're servant constantly because that's our position. Jiva Sarupai Krishna Nityadas. We are eternally Krishna's servant, and we act in any way, both in the material and spiritual realms, in the mood of service. So if you have that mood and you develop it, then the tendency to, even if you forget to pay obeisances or respect for due to circumstance, then there's no offense. Offense is there when we're in the wrong consciousness. That's the platform by which offenses can start to unfold when our consciousness is wrong. We're in the mood of enjoyment. We're whatever, everything but service.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Got it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was asked, how many disciples you have? He responded two different ways and two different occasions. One, he said, I have 4 disciples, 2 arms and 2 legs. They carry out my instructions. And then more direct, one time he said, how many disciples do you have? He said, I don't have any disciples. They are all my masters. I learned something from each and every one of them. So he was saying in the position of a guru, not only a guru, but a very powerful guru, seeing himself as servant. If we identify with our position rather than our actual identity, then we may make mistakes. If we think, well, I'm a temple commander, I'm a sannyasi, I'm a guru. These are just positions that you perform service in, that's all. We are none of these things. We just play that role when we're serving in that capacity. But who we are is we are eternal servant of the Lord. That's all we can ever be. Can't be anything more than that. That's our identity.
Thanks, Amritana Mataji. Any other questions? While we're waiting, Maharaj, I have a question about the new devotees who joins, just like literally 1 or 2 weeks started joining the temple, coming the temple and joining one of the Bhakti Vriksha groups and like little bit service here and there. But because, they don't know all these things about offenses or anything like that, how does it work for them? Do they still get, because they're serving in kind of, they do not have that knowledge?
No, it's up to them it's up to us to guide them in a proper way. That's why we have classes. We also teach by our own behavior too. So they're not going to be liable to commit offenses. But when they stay for a while and they start learning, then they become more and more liable to make mistakes and commit offenses. So new people, no, they are just given a chance to learn. So they have to learn also. And it's our duty to teach them. If we just bring people in and we don't guide them and instruct them and give them a chance to learn, then we're doing them a disservice.
Hmm. So would it be ideal, Guru Maharaj, to give them maybe a synopsis of what the service entails, and who giving the introduction of the devotees, like mainly the senior devotees in the temple, or something like that, to
We-
not to go on technical level, but still some idea of not causing offenses. Like, is there something can be done in the very beginning stage?
We teach them the process, that's all. They can learn the process. Well, when I remember when we were in the temples and new people would come, we have these small little pocket-sized songbooks with all of the prayers of the morning program along with other prayers. And then they would learn the prayers and sing along and practice reciting the prayers, and they would learn that way. So we used to give them to the new people so they could learn. And, we don't go around giving them so many instructions, but we guide them in the right way, that's all. When they ask questions, we should be able to be there to give them the proper answers.
Any other questions, devotees? The topic is very important, and it has definitely in our life that we come across so many devotees we serve, because we all serve. So we might have come across, if you have any realizations or anything, it'll be nice to share. And the verse is really appropriate for today to discuss. Yashi Devi Mataji, please go ahead.
I'm just sharing a little bit, Guru Maharaj, from my recent experiences. The Mataji's ashram protocol. We're trying to come up with something so that newcomers who are coming into the Mataji's ashram should understand what is the expected behavior, rules, regulations, dress, etc. Because they are now going to live in the temple. They're going to be part of the temple community. There are brahmacharis and other people, so they must know how to conduct themselves, etc. So in the course of trying to come up with that, we realized that we don't have anything, a written protocol. So I connected with some other Matajis, and they referred me to a book written by Kalakanta Prabhu and his wife Jita Mitra, who have started Krishna House. And they shared their experiences of bringing new bhaktas and bhaktins in, and how they trained them in Krishna consciousness. The book is called Endangered Species. So if anyone would like to have that book in their individual temples, please let me know. I'm happy to just forward that copy to you.
Good, thank you. Yeah. But there should be some kind of protocol that are posted in temples for new devotees. I know in many temples they have that proper ways for behavior, proper ways for living in the temple, like that. Yeah. And we should not just wait till they ask. That should be posted. We put them on the walls. We distribute information explaining these things especially for those who live in the temple.
Thank you. Thank you, Devi Mataji. Please share with me. I'll share my details with you anyway. Okay. So we don't have, seems like there are no other questions, Guru Maharaj. Would you prefer to do one? Would you have time to do one japa?
Don't you have any more questions?
I'm just waiting. Are there any other questions?
Don't worry. Your job is to keep
Yes, you did.
keep things moving by asking questions and inspiring others by your own questions. If they don't ask, you have to ask. It's the job of that's your service. You can't just be asking them every minute for questions. Whenever there's a break, you have to be able to be there to say something and give your own opinion, ask a question. That inspires others. You don't. That's service.
So I've got just one question from the Revati Mataji. So I'll come back to you, Balaji Prabhu, and just give me a second. I'll be back. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. August Prabhupada. Thank you for the very nice class. How one should practice to be in the service mood if one is constantly disrespected and put down?
Why would you be constantly disrespected and put down? Is there something about your behavior that's causing that to happen? You have to reflect on why is that happening to me? What am I doing wrong? If you're feeling like that and it's coming, then you might look and take some inventory and see what is about other people that are causing them to disrespect you or put you down. Is there something wrong in your own activities that's causing others to act like that? That's where you start. There's people who complain, nobody loves me. You ever heard that before? And the reason why is because you're not loving other people. If you love other people, you'll get love in return. But if you expect everyone to love you and not give anything, then you might be waiting forever. So when you respect and honor others, you'll get that in return from most people. We have to think in that way. We don't blame others. We always look towards ourselves for whatever problems are there.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Balaji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Gauranga, and assembled devotees. I have two follow-up questions, Maharaj. One is, Sridevi Mataji has said about the book. That book is available in ISKCONAstromates.com website. So anyone can download from there. The second,
I'm not familiar with the book. Does anyone either Sri Devi or you want to say something about the contents, how it's played out? What is it about the book that makes it very interesting and valuable?
I think Sridevi Mataji can tell us more about that. Mataji, you want to say a few words about that, Mataji?
If you'd like to say something, that would be nice to hear, Prabhu.
Oh, Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
I'm always talking something or the other. It's nice to hear from you. If you have liked the book, please share your views.
No, Mataji, I think you can go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So basically, Guru Maharaj, what Kalakanta Prabhu and Jitamrita Mataji have put together is how they went about attracting young people, preaching to them, encouraging them, not insisting on, all the rules and regulations from get-go, how, hardline preaching doesn't work with Westerners. They're just describing their experiences in making this ashram happen. And then it goes on to describe how they dealt with, Ritvik philosophy, how they dealt with brahmachari, hardcore brahmachari thinking, how they encourage people to have respect for all ashrams. So like this, it is sort of progressive, helping the sadhaka, the new bhakta, to go step by step by step. They said, we didn't insist that right away you chant 16 rounds. The 4 regulative principles, non-negotiable. You must follow the 4 regulative principles, but you start with chanting 8 rounds. And throughout the week, Mangal Aarti is a must, morning program is a must, but on weekends, it's optional. So that if you want to sleep in, you want to take it easy on Saturday, Sunday, that's allowed. So Monday to Friday, they have this very strict program for all the sadhakas, but Saturday, Sunday, it's a little loose. If you want to come, you're welcome, but we don't insist. So like this, they just explained how they started training, and they went on to say that devotees have taken initiation from 15 different gurus in their ashram, Krishna house. They've gone on to become initiated. Some of them have got married. They hold classes. They've started their own initiatives. So they said this is very successful in preaching to young Western devotees who don't know so much about Krishna consciousness. So I just thought I'll share that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with their program, and yeah, they're expanding exponentially. Every few months, a new Krishna house comes to one part of the United States. I think they're up to about 12 houses now, different places. The main one was in Alachua, and from there it expanded out to different places. Yeah, I went to the one in Alachua. It's nice. Because just giving everybody the hard line, straight protocol, which we were exposed to when we first joined the Hare Krishna movement, doesn't work with today's Western people. They can't handle it, or it seems to be too hard, it seems to be a little oppressive. So without compromising, learning how to adjust things and giving them a little leeway to make decisions and practice accordingly, but it's still keeping the protocol in such a way that there's no compromise in the philosophy or in the practice. It's a really good program. Yeah. Thank you. Scarlett, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for today's class. Do you hear me when I'm talking here?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Thank you. Thank you. In my learning and my experience in life, I have 6 children, which they are adult now, but I know that it has happened many times, either in their school, in their university. There was a favoritism. There was, for example, a teacher favorited some student, but not others, and so on and so on. And even this favoritism going on between the students. And I thought before that it happens only in this way here in school, but later on I learned even anywhere else happened the same thing, in the job, in the church, and so on and so on. And I'm so sorry to say, I even saw happen it in the temple here. So if one feel that there is going on favoritism going on, what to do then? What should, when you know that this is what is going on is because of the favoritism, what to do?
Well, you have to be sure, because you might see it as favoritism, but it may be something else. It's not so easy to understand unless you know the actual persons involved and why it's happening. From the outside's perspective, you can't necessarily understand that. There may be some reason why, or for some devotional reason, or for some managerial reason, or for some organizational reason. I wouldn't worry about that. I just go on with my devotional service. I don't think it's so important that we get where we concern ourselves with these things.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scarlett Mataji. Maharaj, there is a question from Archana Siddhi Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class, Gurudev. My question is, familiarity brings contempt. Should we not become too familiar with few devotees and plan our interactions that way? But then how does sharing in confidence with some devotees happen unless we know them well?
Well, that's different. One is familiarity means to really minimize a person's position or their person's importance. So familiarity you just take for granted the association of devotees. You take for granted a person's participation in things. So we always keep a respectful attitude, and that way we won't gravitate down to what we say, this familiar attitude. It happens sometimes. Sometimes just like when we refer to people by their name, we might shortcut their name also. And that's one way of becoming familiar. So, you might use a nickname. It depends. There's a lot of personal concern, understandings in these different dynamics. The way to avoid familiarity is always appreciate the association of devotees. That was brought up by Radhanath Swami a few nights ago here in Dallas when we had a satsang at the temple. And he commented on what Prabhupada had said, that the indication of a devotee's advancement is they appreciate all other devotees. So that if you have that sense of appreciation, that to get devotee association is wonderful, it's rare, something that should not be taken for granted. Not that we get sentimental, but we actually keep the mood of respect and service very much prominent.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you. Thanks. Sakshi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I just wanted to know how critical it is to seek forgiveness from a devotee when we have committed a mistake, but not realizing and just going in front of them and begging forgiveness, but not realizing the mistake.
Oh, in other words, you don't realize the mistake, but still you're asking for forgiveness.
Yeah, because somehow or other we know that they are upset with us. So in that case, should we first?
You just say, my dear devotee, call him by name. Is there something that I've done that could cause you some offense or some disturbance? Ask and see what they say. Ask in a humble way, not in a challenging way.
And Maharaj, what if we give time and first analyze what we have done wrong from our side, and then, I mean, just giving time, can we just give time and first realize our mistake, and then after that just go in front of them and beg forgiveness?
Yeah, that's fine. That's the proper way. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you're not sure, then you ask, did I cause some, is there something I did to offend you or something? If you see that they're disturbed about something.
Yes. Thank you very much.
It's proper etiquette. Nishringa Leela?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees. My question has two parts. One part is maybe more connected to inner strength when practicing our sadhana, because my lifestyle, travel a lot, staying in hotels, no devotee association. So I don't even have material association because most of the time I'm alone. And so somehow I feel that I have to be very, every I don't know, every day I have to find new strength and inspiration to do my sadhana. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's very hard. I know it's usually like that in a life of a devotee, but somehow sometimes I feel it's not easy because of my lifestyle, one part, and I mean how to find that strength and inspiration. I regularly listen different seminars, classes, I read. I know I could do it more regularly, or actually I do it regularly, but maybe more of that I could do. But I feel that because I don't have a physical association with devotees, I'm not so much inspired. And second part is connected to physical association in regarding, I feel because I don't have it, I lack in culture and maybe intolerance when associating with devotees. So I become more irritable because most of the time I'm alone. But when I spend time with devotees, I see that I lack that culture, tolerance, and everything that comes together. So if you please can guide me, if I could express myself properly. Thank you.
Well, I would go back to the beginning and say, do you have to live like that? I would say if when you're, I know your situation, but when you're going to these different places, see if you can seek out association of devotees wherever you are. Sometimes it takes a little bit of an effort to find devotees in that area. And usually if the devotees are in that area, there's always things going on with devotees. So I would say more, don't spend so much time alone, but try to find that association whenever you are in a particular place. And I know some places just that isn't there, or it's like 1 or 2 hours away by car, or like something like that. But I don't know. Try to find more ways to get association, I think. I think Krishna will help you, but you might have to make an effort.
Yeah, thank you. Now when you say that, somehow I think maybe I'm just lethargic. I don't put so much effort, and then Krishna will provide.
He'll show you. There's devotees are everywhere, but you have to somehow make an effort to find it. Yeah, I think you can minimize your situation as in being, by yourself if you make more of an effort to find wherever you come into that place.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think I need to put some effort and also digest that, because there must be something in my consciousness that is maybe afraid of devotee association or something. I don't know. I have to digest, I think.
So I don't think so. I think you may be just a little bit lax in that area. You just don't make the effort.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, for inspiration and strength you give us all the time.
And I hope you can, without getting into your personal situation, I hope you can somehow or other minimize that situation where it doesn't happen so often.
Thank you for blessings. Hare Krishna.
Very sweet question. Thank you, Narasimha Mataji. Any other questions? Otherwise, we are 25 minutes past. So if Guru Maharaj would like to, and if he has time, if you want to do it a japa, or we can close the session.
What do you want to do?
I would love to have japa with you.
So,
I'll
since
bring
you do it, I want to do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll bring my bead back.
Jais. Okay, devotees, sit straight. Grab those beads, hold them above your waist, and concentrate on the sound vibration of Krishna's name. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hare Krishna Hari Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hare Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Hari Ram Hari Ram Hare Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hare Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you very much.
Diamond
Jai.
Association.
Okay, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much. All my obeisances to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Krishna.